Welcome back for another week of Daily Fantasy NASCAR. I'm Chris Durrell, aka Jagerbombs, and I'm here for DFSR.com to bring you my favorite picks from my cheat sheet going into this week's Overton's 301 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The track is a 1.058 mile. It's one of the flattest on the circuit at just 12 degrees of banking in the corners. It's going to be fairly tough to pass, as shown in the past. The correlation from finishing to starting position is one of the highest we've seen since I started tracking it this year. And like I mentioned in the article here, this is my main article on DFSR.com, that over the last 3 years, 6 races, there has been 8 drivers who have led 100 plus laps. They've all started inside the top 10. So let's get started. I'm going to navigate you through my article, how to get the free cheat sheet and get it open for you. So you can go through the article, you can read I come out with this midweek, kind of give you some trends to look at going into the race. If you scroll right to the bottom of that page, you're going to see the picture here. You're going to click on that. If you want the race-by-race trend sheet, you can click on it here. So when you click on that main cheat sheet, it's going to open a view-only sheet. And the first thing you're going to want to do, I'm going to mention this every week, pretty repetitive for those of you that check out my videos every week. But for the new guys, this is how you're going to be able to create your own models, sort columns. So pay close attention here. You're going to hit File, Make a Copy. Name it whatever you'd like. I called this one just Chris's Copy. Click OK. It's going to open another screen. That screen is going to be allow you to edit. So if you wanted to sort by Monster Energy Cup Series rank stand-ins, you could click Data, Sort A to Z on that column, and then you're going to see Kyle Larson in first. That's changed a little bit with the points. I'll have to update that a little bit, but that's how you sort the columns. So we're going to go back and sort by DK dollar here. So you click on anyone in that column D, go up to Data, sort column Z to A for highest to lowest. So that's how we're going to get through there. Something else on the sheet that's fairly new is the DK point averages. So this is showing a driver's last 5, last 10 races and season average point, DraftKings points. And then over here to the right is by track type. So this is race by race. I've color coded the different kinds of track types, and then all the way over to the right I've got DK point averages for plate tracks, short tracks, 1 mile, intermediate averages. So this week we got the 1 mile intermediates. I've already sorted it by that, so that as you can see, Kyle Larson, there's only been 2 races, Phoenix and Dover this year. Dover is a little bit higher banking, so the correlation isn't completely there, so it's a little bit lower in the weight this week. But that's just something that you can look at for sure. It really helped out last week looking at Martin Truex Jr. and his dominance on the 1.5 mile tracks. The next tab over is the last 6 races at New Hampshire, so it's just the finishing position, starting position, laps led. Just kind of have a look, and this is where we get some of the stats and some of the trends from. So let's jump into the picks now. So I've highlighted them on the sheet here, as you can see. The green are going to be my dominators, the orange are my place differential, and the blue are my GPP. So right off the bat, we got my favorite play of the week. Number 1 in my model is going to be Martin Truex Jr. He got the pole after Kyle Larson failed post-qualifying inspection. He's led 1,115 laps this season, almost 300 more than any other driver, so he's really good at the dominator aspect of fantasy. He was second in practice 1, first in practice 2, and second in final practice. So he's got a really fast car. Should be able to get up there and be one of those drivers to lead 100 plus laps. The next guy I'm looking at is Kyle Busch. He was 7th. He qualified 7th. He was 3rd in opening practice, 7th in practice 2, but in the 10-lap averages, he had the 2nd fastest 10-lap average. So it looks like he's got a nice long-run car. He was the fastest in final practice, and I don't have the 10-lap averages from final practice yet. I will update that on the sheet very shortly. So he's my number 2. And then Jimmy Johnson, he's my least favorite of the 2 when it comes to dominator. Favorite play for value, as he's only 9,600. He's starting 3rd. He was 13th, or sorry, he's starting 2nd, 13th in opening practice. He was 3rd in practice 2, 6th in practice in final practice. So it looks like he's got a top 5 car there. I'm interested to see what the 10-lap average is going to be in final practice, as he ranked 11th in practice 2 in that aspect. So he's might be a little bit risky there, but you can never count out the 48. Jumping into the place differential plays this week, pretty chalky at the top again. Kyle Larson, he failed post-qualifying inspection. We'll start from the back, 39th, so he's got a ton of place differential upside. He was fastest in opening practice, second in practice 2, fourth in final practice. So he got a little bit worse. He showed some frustration when they interviewed him after final practice, but they should be able to figure it out. They've definitely got a top 5 car, and if he finishes inside the top 5, that's some big points starting 39th. That's already 34 bonus points plus the finishing position, fast laps. He could even get up there and get some dominator points, lead. I could see him probably leading 20 to 40 laps as well. So he is an auto play in cash games, very tough to fade in GPPs. But if say if you're doing the 20 max $4 entry there, I would probably be playing him in at least 70% of my lineups, and then maybe in those last 5-6 lineups, I'm probably going to fade him a little bit. I also like fading Truex a little bit. He's going to be really popular in GPPs, and that's where it comes to. We'll get into the GPP plays next, but my next top place differential play is going to be Chase Elliott. He's starting 11th this week, so that gives him a plus 10 if he was to win. So not a whole bunch of place differential value, but he has shown a top 5 car all weekend, even when it comes to the 10-lap averages. So I think he can get up there and be definitely in the top 5 in points this week at the end of the race. DraftKings points, that is. And then the last guy I got down here, he's the most risky of the group as well. He does come at a nice value, Ryan Newman at 7,300. He's 24th in qualifying. 23rd in practice 2, but he did have the 12th fastest 10-lap average, and he was 22nd in final practice. I'm interested to see again what his 10-lap average was there, see if he's got a long-run car. But when it comes to his track history here, he's finished top 20 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in 7 straight and 9 of his last 10 races, with 5 top 10s along the way. So I think he's a nice value, and if he finishes even 15th, that's 9 bonus points for place differential value. I think he can do that for sure. GPP plays. So right back up to the top here, with all the ownership going to be centered around Kyle Larson, Martin Truex, and even Kyle Busch to an extent, and Jimmy Johnson. I think that Kevin Harvick makes a nice play, especially if people are looking at the practice sheets. He qualified 12th, so he does have a little bit of place differential value, but he did not show very much speed. 14th in practice 1, 16th in practice 2, and 11th in final practice. And he was barely top 20 in the 10-lap averages, and there was only 25 cars that actually logged a top 10-lap average in practice 2. So not very good there, but when it comes to figuring out the car during the race, not many teams do it better than the number 4 team. So I will definitely back him in GPPs. Probably going to go about 20 to 30% exposure on him, thinking that his ownership is probably going to be in that 10 to 15% range, maybe even lower if we get lucky. The next driver I like is one who will be jumping cars from the 77 to the 20 next year on the Joe Gibbs team. Eric Jones. He's had a solid year all year, and as you can see here, he's been top 10 all weekend in every aspect. He started out 9th in practice 1, 6th in qualifying, so I think that keeps his ownership down, the fact that he doesn't have very much place differential value. But he was 6th in practice 2 with the 7th fastest 10-lap average. 10th in final practice, and I think just from remembering on TV, he was inside the top 10, between 5th and 10th again when it came to 10-lap averages as well in final practice. So I think he makes a nice GPP value here this week again. And over the last 5 races, he has the most average DraftKings points per race than any driver under 9,500. So that's pretty positive there as well. My final pick for GPPs, she's probably going to be a bit chalky. Just there's not many drivers in that 6K range or down below if you're wanting to go stars and scrubs this week. It's a very tough track to pass on. But I do like Danica Patrick here. She's 25th in the model. She's only 6,200 this week. Her last 5 races, only 17.1 DK points, so she's been kind of trending down. Hopefully that form maybe keeps the ownership down a bit. But she's starting 30th. She was 27th, 24th in the final 2 practices. And the big thing with her is that she's got 2 straight top 20 finishes here. Last year, 2016, in the 2 races. And she's finished top 30 in 6 of her last 7 races here. So starting 30th, it looks like she's got some pretty good chance at some positive place differential value this week. And at 6,200, you can combine her with someone like even Paul Menard at 6,500 starting 29th and showed almost top 20 speed there. Put those 2 together, you can most likely get 2 or 3 of these top tier over 9K guys in your lineup. Alright, so those are my favorite plays for the week. If you have any questions going into the race, I'm going to be in the DFSR chat room tomorrow morning. As you can see, I got a private message here already. You can go into the public chat room. I'm going to be there probably about 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, right up until lineup lock, so you can hit me up there. You can find this video, as you can see, I'll be updating it here shortly on the article. You can also reach me on Twitter at Jaeger_bombs9 anytime. Got notifications on the phone, so hit me up anytime. Leave a comment on the YouTube video, and if you like what you see, make sure to hit the like video, subscribe, tell all your friends, and let's get some green screens this week, and I'll see you soon.